Hello everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a quick review of my latest plush, which is this Eevee that I got a commission for. She stands approximately 2 feet tall, she's 2 feet long, she is made from I Love This Yarn, brand yarn, felt and faux fur that I just bought from the craft store, and inside her feet and her bum she has PVC pellets that have been wrapped up with felt, so there's a bit more weight to her. She was commissioned back in December, and if I'm really honest, I did not think the customer would ask for the largest plush that I sell. I thought they would ask for something a bit smaller, but it was really fun getting to do a large plush because I think the last one I did was the Kraken, which I'll show a picture of here. I made that back in 2014, and it's been forever since I got to make a large plush. I've only made 2 others in the past, the Kraken being one, and this one, which is a giant squid. And as you can see when comparing the 3 side by side, my skill level has really improved since way back then. I think the squid I made in 2012. Oh, there she is at a different angle. The thing that was actually the hardest about this plush was the entire body. I made it a slightly different color just to give the illusion of depth when you look at her as a whole. But the hardest part was getting just all of this done just because it was so much. And here is the only thing that I really regret is this little bit of kink right here where I thought it would fill out as soon as I filled her up, but this just kind of stayed there as like a wrinkle. But I mean, if you look at the official art of Eevee, she has like little fluffs everywhere, so I'm not as unhappy about that because I think overall it works. So what I basically did was I started with the body, and then the head was the second piece, and before I even did the legs or anything, I did the tail just so I knew everything would be balanced and stuff. I always save the legs for last because you want the legs to support whatever is on the body. So thinking of that, just how everything would weigh, I went ahead and I put the ears on, and maybe instead of showing you just this, I'll show you pictures of what I did. So after all of that was put together, the last thing I did was I did the back legs first, and the very last thing were the front legs, so I knew they would be able to support the entire body. Now, I was kind of like a last minute thing. I decided I was going to stitch up the nose with just yarn, but I decided I liked the look of the felt a little more. It made it look more clean. And I put the fluff on in like big triangle shapes, and then I stuffed stuffing inside so that way it would give this more, it would be more volume to her chest, and these just wouldn't lay flat because I just laid them on there flat and I didn't like that. So there's actually additional stuffing inside the fluff on her chest. With her tail, it was just a simple cone shape that I applied around the tip of the tail. If I could do it over again, I probably wouldn't crochet the whole tail. I would sew the yarn onto the cone shape of the fur and then crochet from there. But I really don't see it as like a big flaw. I'll just know to do it in the future. The last thing I did was the details. For the face, I simply made 2 big black circles. I felted them on there at first with a felting needle, and I had already cut out the eye shines and also the little bit of color, because if you look at the art of Eevee, she has always like a little bit of color under her eyes. And I put them on there temporarily, but what I did to make sure everything stayed in place was I took thread and I sewed around the black circle so it would stay in place before I felted on the eye shines and the color. And that's also what I did with the ears. I cut out a large tube-shaped brown triangle, and then I also put the black shading over top of that, and I held it on with a little glue, felted it on the ears, sewed around the edge, and then continued felting in the middle, so it has a really nice feel to it. One of the last things I did was her little feet. These were just kind of a bulbous shape, so I defined them using thread, just a simple blanket stitch in order to get, not a blanket stitch, just a simple stitch in order to get the toe shape in there, and I did that twice because I don't think you really need any more than that. And then I took a little circle of felting wool and I felted it onto her feet for her paw pads, and I just did the same thing with the front, so she has like cute little indented paw pads that you can see on her body, and they are very sweet. Overall, I would give this project, if you were going to do this yourself, I would say this is about an 8 out of 10 on the difficulty scale, maybe 7 out of 10, only because it is a little difficult working in such a large scale. You kind of have to think about the overall shape, and that's a bit hard sometimes because the head, for instance, when I started to make it, it sort of came out flat at the bottom, and I had to like unravel and go back and make sure that my decreasing and stuff was consistent. I have not written a pattern for this plush. I kind of just freehand everything because I just feel like that is a lot faster, and it's just kind of the way I can think in 3 dimensions. So I didn't meticulously write down a pattern. If I'm making something and I know I'm going to be making a lot of it, I will make a pattern, but in this case I didn't. So if you would ever want to buy this pattern, I could make another Eevee and just meticulously write it down and then put it up for sale on my Etsy store. So comment below if you'd actually like to see a pattern for something this large. Obviously, it will be a while before I make anything this large again because I'm going to be staying on track with some of my more, my tinier plush, just because they're easier to film videos for in a shorter amount of time. That is kind of the reason I did not film a step-by-step with this plush, is because I was working on her so much, and I would take her body with me in the car, into the store, and the same with her head. Like, I just carried it with me everywhere, so there wasn't like a lot of time for me to just sit down and constantly film the process like I do with my other videos. So yeah, this review is going to go up both on the craft channel and my vlog channel. All of my stuff is linked below. My Etsy, my eBay, my DeviantArt, which is where I post a lot of my pictures, and my Instagram, where you can see the step-by-step process. But, I don't know, I really enjoyed this, and I think if I were to modify it a little, I would re-release like another tutorial of maybe like a fox rather than an Eevee, so it's not like a brand character. But let me know what you think. Comment below if you'd like to see any other Pokemon, what you think of this one. If you noticed any flaws, I'd be happy to take some critiques for anyone who watches this and maybe sees some places in my work that can be improved. Thank you very much. This is Sunflower, and I will see you in my next review. Bye!
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch them all. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend. In a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch them all. So true. Our courage will pull us through. You teach me and I'll teach tears.